Alrighty guys, it is Quaman here today, and I'm bringing you another Dragon Ball Z segment on who is to blame the most for Cell's perfection. And today's video request is from B10s. So in this video today, I will discuss who I think is responsible for Cell's perfect form out of all of the candidates who were responsible in helping Cell transform, which ultimately led to his perfect form. And the candidates that will be discussed are Piccolo, the androids, Crillon, Vegeta, Trunks, Bulma, and Gohan. So without wasting any more time, let's get straight into the video. And for those of you who are curious, Dr. Gero does not count, but he would obviously be the biggest candidate since he and his computer helped create Cell. So, let's first begin by discussing how Piccolo was to blame for Cell's transformation. Well, when you think about it, Piccolo did have the strength to defeat Cell after he had fused with Kami. With that said, there should have been no excuse for Piccolo not being able to defeat Cell. In addition, Piccolo is often known as the intelligent or cerebral fighter amongst the Z fighters, and because of this, he should not have fallen for Cell's trap to escape with the solar flare, since Piccolo should have known after Cell's monologue that Cell had many of the Z fighters' cells inside of him. If Piccolo managed to not fall for Cell's trap right then and there, Cell would have been destroyed and would have never proceeded to absorb the androids. But does this make him the most responsible for Cell's ultimate perfection? Well, let's discuss the others to find out who truly was the most responsible for Cell's perfection. Moving on to androids 17 and 18, both of these androids were responsible to a degree for allowing Cell to transform. When android 16 showed that he was about the same in power to imperfect Cell, he was strong enough to hold Cell off and possibly kill him. Because of this, android 17 should have used that time to escape. Now, I know that based on android 17's personality, running is never an option, but if he had listened to 16, who was well aware of how dangerous Cell would have become, then Cell may have never reached his semi-perfect form. Similar to 17, after Cell transformed, 18 should have escaped at an earlier point in time, so Cell wouldn't be able to absorb her as well. She could have found a better hiding spot, and by the time Trunks and Vegeta arrived, she would have been nowhere to be found, which causes me to give her some of the blame for Cell's perfection as well. So if 17 and 18 were not stalling while 16 fought Cell, both would have escaped, which would have made it harder for Cell to absorb them, if not impossible. Regardless of which order the androids could or would have been absorbed, they should have made a better attempt to escape. But let's discuss the other characters who are to blame as well. Now, let's move on to good old Crillon. I'm sure that many of you are able to see that Crillon was obviously a main contributor to Cell transforming because of the fact that he didn't destroy Android 18 when he had the chance. If Crillon destroyed 18, Trunks or Vegeta would have easily defeated Cell, and Cell would have never reached his perfect form and would have died in his semi-perfect form. Although Crillon is a direct factor in allowing Cell to achieve his perfect form, let's discuss the other characters that were involved in this process as well. This leads me into talking about the character whose actions were in conjunction with Krillon's, and this character is Vegeta. When Dragon Ball Z fans discuss who is the most responsible for allowing Cell to become perfect, Vegeta is often one of the first characters that people blame for perfect Cell. This is quite obvious because of the fact that Vegeta allowed Cell to absorb 18 and stopped Trunks from killing Cell in order for Cell to absorb her. Because of this, Vegeta had a direct involvement in Cell's perfection in order to test his Saiyan power and pride. As a result of it, Vegeta and Trunks were defeated and Cell hosted the Cell games afterwards. Now, this one was relatively easy to state, but let's discuss how Trunks, Vegeta's son, also helped Cell transform. For those of you who saw my alternate timeline video of Dragon Ball Z, you would know that there were two future Trunkses. Essentially, the Trunks that was too weak to stop Cell from killing him and taking his time machine is to blame to a certain degree, even if he was too weak. If he was strong enough and he was able to stop Cell right then and there, Cell would have never gone back in time and started his hunt for the androids. But at the same time, our future Trunks is to blame as well. Although Vegeta was toying with Cell and was going to kill Semi-Perfect Cell earlier, Trunks, knowing how dangerous Cell is, should have intervened at a much earlier time prior to Cell discovering Android 18. When this happened, Trunks should have killed Semi-Perfect Cell before his father was tricked by Cell into attaining his perfect form. Even if it crosses his father's pride, Trunks should have known what was best for mankind, and besides, Trunks went against his father anyways, but 18 was already discovered and it was too late. So even though it's harder to discuss, Trunks is to blame to some degree for Cell's perfection. As we are on the topic of Vegeta's family, I have to give Bulma some blame for all of this too. Unlike the other characters, however, she didn't have the ability to kill Cell or one of the androids like the Z-Fighters or Crillon, but she was directly involved in Cell's transformation. This is because she invented a time machine. Now some of you may think, well, she did it for a good cause when she did it, but at the same time, if the alternate future Trunks found a way to stop the androids without going to the past and without the use of the time machine, Cell would have never stolen it and went to the past to cause all the problems that were caused. Because of it, I have to give Bulma some of the blame for this as well. But let's move on to one of the later causes of Cell's ultimate perfection, Gohan. Now, although Cell was already in his perfect form when he fought against Gohan, Gohan allowed Cell to become perfecter, even though that's not a word. We all know that Gohan was toying with both Perfect Cell and Semi-Perfect Cell in the anime. In the manga, Gohan never really fought against Semi-Perfect Cell, but we know that in both scenarios, if Gohan used his Super Saiyan 2 powers to kill Cell when he had so many chances of doing so, Cell would have never been forced to self-destruct, which killed Goku and allowed Cell to become Super Perfect Cell. If you guys check out one of my older videos, you will see that I made a video on why didn't the other Z-Fighters kill Semi-Perfect Cell, where I discussed the chance that Goku, Vegeta, Piccolo, Trunks, and Gohan had to kill Cell after he vomited 18 out. But keep in mind that that was only in the anime, and in the manga it was faster paced, giving the others no real time to act, as Cell immediately tried to self-destruct. Now that I have mentioned all those characters, I have to make an argument as to who is the most responsible. And the most responsible character for Cell's perfection is Goku. Yes guys, I said it. Goku. And I know it's a surprise, but the reason why I blame Goku is that he is indeed the cause of all of this. If Goku killed Dr. Gero as a child alongside the Red Ribbon Army, there would be no androids and Cell would have never been created. If he didn't have such a soft heart, he would have prevented not only Cell, but an entire future where the androids never existed, which caused all of his friends to die and caused the birth of Cell. Some could argue that it was Bulma's fault the most for creating a time machine, but if Goku killed Gero early in his childhood, none of that would have happened anyways. Even Trunks said himself that Goku caused it to happen since he had such a soft heart. But there's also another reason why Goku is to blame. During the Trunks saga, Krillin suggested to Goku that they use the Dragon Balls to locate the androids and kill them and Gero before they were unleashed in the world. And Goku turned it down to have the chance of fighting them, which ultimately led to Cell discovering them. So there you guys have it. Goku is to blame for Cell's creation and for him becoming perfect. All these characters played their parts, but I think we can all agree that it is indeed Goku's fault. So guys, that has been my video for today. I'd love to hear your thoughts on who you guys think is the most to blame for Cell's perfection. If there was a character that I didn't mention who is to blame, please state it in the comments section below, but please provide a valid argument doing so. Also, please don't state in-depth philosophical questions like it's Dr. Gero's parents' fault for giving birth to Dr. Gero or something along those lines, because although you can keep going back for answers, it just becomes silly. Please try to choose direct characters. In addition to everything I've said, I'll post a link in the description to the videos that I have mentioned. So please remember to rate, comment, and subscribe. And remember, as I always say, to have a great day, guys.